Welcome to another episode of Smash Writing. I am your host today, Paul, and the title says it all. We're going to be talking about the Snyder Justice League cut, or the Snyder cut. Justice League, the Snyder cut, Justice League, Snyder cut, Justin League, whatever, Zack Snyder's Justice League, whatever you want to call it. We are talking about it, giving it a review, and I don't think we should waste any time because we got some things to talk about. And the main thing is we are going to be talking about why this Snyder League cut happened. So it's not uncommon for directors to film a lot of footage, and they decide what they want. Justice League was obviously something different. Justice League of 2017 had a bunch of issues, right, even during filming while Zack Snyder was there. Basically, the gist of the story, and we'll go back and forth and talk about in detail about this, is basically Zack Snyder left because his passing of his daughter, and Josh Whedon took over. Now we know, obviously, Josh had a good making with the sense of, doing what he did with the MCU with Avengers and Age of Ultron and everything like that. So, he had obviously some credit to his name dealing with comic books. The truth of the matter is that the biggest thing was how much of that 2017 film was Zack Snyder's, how much of it was Josh Whedon's. Well, I did my research, can make sure this was sounded more legit, and basically the Snyder League, the Justice League of 2017, seems to be more about 10% of Zack Snyder. This is because Josh Whedon did rewrites worth about 80 pages, and that, if you're going to break down percents per page, that's 10%, so that's 80%. So Zack Snyder's was about 20% of the 2017 film, though he filmed a lot more stuff. Why did we have this situation? Well, we honestly had this situation because Zack Snyder obviously leaving. At the time, it was the fan was like, it's 100% his daughter. And as sad as that is, we're not, it's sad when you lose, obviously, a child, and we need to consider that. And yeah, maybe so, he needed some time. It is also important to remember he left during post-production. Filming actually, Zack Snyder actually directed most of the actual footage, though it was never used, because filming took place from April to October of 2016, basically 5 months before he actually left the project. Well, even longer. During post-production, editing, and everything like that, Zack Snyder's daughter committed suicide. And sadly, she lost her life. And by May, Zack Snyder left due to his passing of his daughter 2 months earlier. Now, but there is another flip to that coin. The other flip is that it is true that Warner Brothers was indeed very unhappy with Snyder's performance with his films. Batman vs. Superman was supposed to be this epic film, and it failed bad. So Warner Brothers was probably most likely going to fire him at Justice League or during Justice League, because both Man of Steel and Batman v Superman was directed by Zack Snyder. Both are considered probably to be more weaker, plus Justice League, the weaker side of things. You're costing Warner Brothers a lot of money, basically 600 plus million, and your combined films of those two films only maybe got you about 1.2 billion. That's not a good number for 600 million spent. I would want more than just 600 million back. So during the production of 2017 Justice League, of course we know there was already reshoots during reshoots because Warner Bros. Was just unhappy with everything was going. Maybe it's sad to say this was more of a coincidence that Autumn, Zack Snyder's daughter, who committed suicide, did this at the timing. The timing is probably more or less a coincidence. We finally got a Justice League in 2017. And it was, we were under the impression that it was, all of Zack Snyder. But now in hindsight, we can see, and I still talk this way, that Zack Snyder was on his way out the door of getting fired. He had scenes, he did a lot of filming. It was in post-production. But then Whedon came around, did the 80 pages. So that leaves about 2017 mostly being Josh Whedon. And with 80 pages of rewrite costing, I think it was like an additional $25 million for reshoots. I mean, that's a lot when reshoots are generally like $5 million or $10 million. But now you're talking about, 25 plus million. So that shows that there is some heavy duty stuff going on. So we get the film. It's poorly reviewed. Makes money, but at the time they were trying to get on that MCU type of bandwagon, and it just didn't happen. So here we go. Years go by. All of a sudden, the hashtag Snyder's Cut starts trending. Because Snyder, I don't think he's a bad director. His style on certain things, like comic books, may not be his go-to. I think a couple episodes ago or a couple months ago, me and Justin was talking about he might still need to be in horror films. That might be his expertise, not comic book films. Sure, I appreciate 300 for the visual effects and everything like that. And that is his style. But what you do with one film may not always work for another film unless you get that script to be like that film. Well, anyway, Snyder Cuts are trending. At this time, we get the launch of HBO Max, basically Warner Brothers streaming service. DC is owned by Warner Brothers. Do the math. So then we get, they agree. They go, hey, you know what? We want the Snyder Cut. Okay, so we got the Snyder Cut. Now it's, how good is this really going to be? There's talk, reshoots, obviously editing, effects were added. Then we get, it's going to be 4 hours long. You're like, whoa. But then we heard it's going to be a mini series and it's going to have 6 parts. So it's like, okay, 45 minutes a piece or something like that. Not bad. Then they go, no. We are doing a 4 hour long movie, but with 6 parts. So now we get to what this Snyder Cut is basically about. The Snyder Cut cost the Warner Brothers $70 million. That's a hefty chunk of money I mean, there are normal budget films that are less than that. In all, the total budget for this Justice League fiasco came to about $370 million. And basically, it's only in the, like, oh man, sorry about this. I thought I wrote down the number for the total gross. Here we go. $657 million. Let that sink in, because the movie, sure, made money, but we're only talking about like barely $300 million. In comparison, you look at what Endgames did with a $300 million budget and stuff like that, you kind of see where Warner Brothers is disappointed. So, this Snyder Cut, the plot is basically the same. Bruce Wayne, with his visions, dreams, whatever, must bring the metahumans together. The metahumans that he gets together is Wonder Woman, Cyborg, The Flash, Aquaman, of course himself, and then they realize they also need to resurrect Superman to fight these battles. Steppenwolf is still the main villain, but you do get Darkseid's cameos, and they don't overdo it with him. He is simply there, kind of like a Thanos-like appearance. You get this fact that he is the big bad baddie that's coming forth, and he wants Earth because of the mother boxes and everything like that. In the 2017 film, you get mentions of Darkseid, but for the most part, it's like Steppenwolf is not working for Darkseid. This one, he clearly is. You get to see Darkseid. That is awesome. The thing about the 2017 film was the lighter tone, and that it felt out of place with the rest of the DCEU, which I completely agree. They took Joss Whedon to do it, and this is what you get. So it fell out of place there. This one was more set in the same type of tone. There was a lot more darker moments from Barry Allen with his dad. They did also go a little bit more character detail with Cyborg in The Flash. Those two together, I think, is a saving grace for the film. Aquaman scenes were reduced a little bit, but what made him a highlight in the 2017 film still makes him a highlight in this film too. I had never had a problem with Gal Gadot being Wonder Woman. She played a role fine. They gave her more action scenes, less scenes with Batman, like tying them together. Ben Affleck as Batman, you can tell with some of the reshoots because, how I can say it, their builds were different. Like, Ben Affleck obviously went through some rehab issues after Justice League, and he slimmed down. You could tell the difference of the scenes from recording a scene in 2016 to 2020. You could tell that, but that's minor details. So the casting was a good thing. So Jared Leto it was part of the reshoots, and his Joker making the appearance. I thought the Joker was better this time. He wasn't the gangster that we seen in the Suicide Squad. Suicide Squad. Problem is, though, this is a dream. This is a dream that Batman's having still about a post-apocalypse type of Earth with Superman basically being the villain. So I don't know how much of that you really want to buy into it. I don't always go against the actors, thinking they're a bad actor if their performance requires them to do this. Jared Leto took a lot of heat for being the Joker that he was, what type of Joker he was. He was just doing what a script told him. So let's keep that in mind. 4 hours, though, at the end of the day, is just too much. We also added, too many scenes. Basically, this film was better than the 2017 version, but I'm not saying this film was a good film. This film was an okay film at best. Some of the effects, some of the scenes that focus on Cyborg origins and Barry's origins and a couple extra scenes like that, sure, the chemistry was good with the actors, with the reshoots and everything like that. But sometimes when you're trying to impress, you do too much. That's the feeling I got with this film, is that as much as he wanted to impress people that his cut was actually better, it was better because it fit, because most of the DCEU style was Zack Snyder's style. So this course is going to fit more natural into the thing. Yeah, some scenes were taken out altogether. The Russian family, I believe it was a Russian family, that felt so random. But there were still scenes in this film that felt as random as hell. You basically, the first scene with Barry, and his crush that he saves and applying for a dart, it just felt so random. Like, that was what I'm talking about. The nightmare sequence was fine. I thought this one was better, to be honest with you. But like once again, it felt better because it fit. Because of Zack Snyder. But I'm not saying this is not Avengers Endgame. This is not on that same level. This is more of probably, for you Marvel fans and for you movie fans, I would probably say let's just compare this to more of like Avengers Age of Ultron. There was some good moments, and not to mention Zack Snyder had the benefit of the doubt of basically having 3 additional years to correct the wrong. If this film was the original film, I probably would not still make it $1 billion film. It would probably maybe be like 700-800 million. The numbers don't lie when you look at Man of Steel and Batman v Superman. They just don't. 4 hours though is so long, and you would think they wouldn't have it cluttered, but it just felt like Martian the Manhunter was in here. It was too crammed, too long, and the pace was slow. Was it better than the 2017 film? Yes. But not by much. And I'm not bashing Zack Snyder. I keep an open mind. We keep an open mind. Well, he's not here, but we keep an open mind of how we look at directors and everything like that. We give them a shot. Like Justin loves Tom Hanks. He really does. He thinks he's a wonderful actor. So now, before we end this video, it's okay, now what happens from here? Well, Zack Snyder keeps saying he's not directing any more films. However, there's probably enough of praise for Warner Brothers to bring him back, at least, on a small movie contract, maybe like a one or two. Don't make him in charge of like what he was. Questions about Ben Affleck. Would he come back as Batman? Probably not. I think he felt that he did his part in with. I mean, there's no reason to honestly say you can't. I know the Michael Keaton casting as Batman, as an older Batman, I would be happy with that. I would actually be happy with Ben Affleck coming back too. The Robert Pattinson's Batman obviously is a younger Batman, so you can have a prequel series and then have modern times to justify everything. You can get away with that. But I don't think Ben is coming back at all. I think Michael Keaton, is probably going to play the older Batman. And depending on the storyline, Cyborg, I don't know. I don't know if he was ever getting a solo film, but the Ray Fisher issue is a whole different ballgame. So we don't know what's going on. Would he come back? I like Ray as Cyborg. I liked his scenes in Justice League. Miller as Flash is such a good, and they feed off each other. I would love to see that chemistry. I think, with Jason Momoa and Fisher and Miller, you got a great chemistry there, and you gotta do it. But we'll see how this changes the landscape of DCEU. Will they finally get on that level of Marvel? I hope so. I hope this is enough to help them. But overall, when it comes to the Snyder Cut, and I try to stay away from the spoilers, and just give it a basic format plot review. I'm probably going to give this a 6 out of 10, or an average level rating. It still didn't jump out at me. But it was enough to be better. But that is all the time I have today. So, until next time, guys, bye-bye.